Okay, so YouTube has been showing me the same two general types of videos all week long, and those two types of videos are contradictory. The first video that YouTube keeps trying to shove down my throat is why you should practice your art every single day. And the other one, as you may have already guessed, is why you should absolutely not be practicing your art every single day. Well, I've seen this kind of thing before. And what I have found is that when you have that kind of contradiction between two fully qualified groups of people, and there are a lot of very good artists on both sides of this debate who are saying, yes, absolutely, practice every day. No, don't practice every day. It's bad for you, man. We have very good artists on both sides. And what I have found whenever you get this kind of a contradiction is there's a hidden conditional that nobody is talking about. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. To answer the question, first of all, should you be practicing your art every day? No. If you're asking the question, the answer is no. Thank you very much. You have a good day. Since I've respected your time, maybe respect mine and leave a like on the video. That would be nice. I would appreciate it. Maybe subscribe. Maybe leave a comment, just some kind of interaction. You don't have to. I won't be mad at you if you don't, but, it'd be nice. Anyway, let's go into a little more detail on this. Why is it a bad idea to practice your art every day if you're asking whether you should practice your art every day? Why is the autofocus on my camera completely fucked up? Who knows? I can answer the one about practicing every day. Practice is something that you do to try and get better at something. And the reason that you would continue practicing something is because you're still getting better. Now, if you're asking, should I practice every day? That means you're practicing and you don't see yourself getting better. And you go, well, should I just practice more? Should I do more of this? That's not going to help you, okay? If you continue to practice and you don't know why your practice isn't getting you where you want to go, then your practice isn't going to improve because you don't know what's wrong. If you don't know what's wrong, then you don't know how to fix it. So if you're asking, should I practice every day, then that means you don't have the incentive to practice every day. Let me go into a little personal anecdote about this. Obviously, I practice some amount. And I went through a period where I was absolutely not practicing every day because I didn't see the point in practicing every day. And then I started trying to practice every day. And I wasn't really seeing a whole lot of progress from practicing every day. So I stopped practicing every day, and I felt bad about it. I felt like I was a bad artist for not practicing every day. I felt like the reason I wasn't getting better is because I wasn't practicing every day. And then I got to a point where I started practicing every day, and I am seeing improvement, and things are going really well. And this is where a lot of people will come up and go, my art progress really took off when I started practicing every day. But that is a chicken and egg question. The actual reality is, when you started improving, you started practicing every day. You didn't improve because you were practicing every day. You practiced every day because you were improving. When you started seeing that improvement, when you sit down and you practice and you see that your practice is making a difference, that makes you want to practice every day. And then you don't need to ask, should I practice every day? It doesn't matter whether you should or not. You want to, you're going to. That's how it happens. That's the way it works. And everybody just kind of has that backwards. They go, when I started practicing every day, I started improving. It's when you started improving that you started practicing every day. That's what I'm running into. I started doing these time-lapse things every week, and I started going, oh my God, if I'm going to do a time-lapse, I better do something that makes sense. I got to do some kind of study or practice that is actually going to show some kind of progression. I mean, I need to time-lapse something that matters, and the effort to do that has forced me to do practice that actually works. And because I'm doing practice that actually works, I want to practice every day. I want to pick up my stylus and get on my tablet and practice so I can improve, because I know how to improve, and there's no reason not to. Like, why wouldn't you want to improve? Don't you want to get better? I want to get better. I think everybody should want to get better. So anyway, that's my take on practicing every day. And I am probably going to chop that out and make it into its own video. So yeah, we will now proceed with the stream. Click. Woohoo! Now we don't have to worry about my focus being off because you can't tell. So, yeah, I don't even have a file open yet. I have been messing around with color mixing, though. I've been messing around with this color mixing thing in Clip Studio Paint, and I kind of like it because there's a thing that, there's a thing that Monet used to do, okay? And that thing is that it would make a palette of red, blue, yellow, and white. And that's where all of his colors came from. In fact, let's drag all of those colors into the same general spot. So we'll have them right there. Red, yellow, blue, and white. And instead of having like a whole bunch of colors all over his palette, what Monet used to do is he would take the red and he would kind of mix it in. Go, okay, there's that a little bit. There's a little purple. There's a little orange right there. And let's make that orange a little more yellow right there. Okay, and let's add a little blue, kind of darken it up. And then let's lighten that up a bit. Let's grab our white. Lighten that up. As we lighten that up, we'll gradually kind of converge on this kind of yellowish orange skin tone. Let's darken that up a little bit. A little more red there, a little more orange right there. And now what we have a, let's come down here to our palette. And now we've got a skin tone. I've just mixed together a skin tone over here. And now I can click over to, I can come over here to my hue saturation value. And if I go, well, that's too light, I want that a little bit darker. Let's lower that value a little bit. Let's lower our saturation a little bit. We're currently at 30. Let's drop it down to maybe 22. Actually, let's raise that saturation up to about 40. There we go. And we'll drop the value again. And there we've got a skin tone that doesn't quite look as washed out as the one that we started with. So I've been messing around with color mixing and color blending and color alteration because my color sense is garbage. I suck at color. So I've been messing around with it. And one of the things that you really want to try to kind of avoid is just color picking out of your reference. Color picking out of your reference is a generally bad idea. But working from this kind of red, yellow, blue, and white palette on that Monet used to work with. That's kind of what he started with. And you guys know that I'm a fan of Monet. So So that's the kind of thing that I would think was cool. That's the kind of palette that I would want to go, yeah, that's the palette I want to work with right there. So let's talk a little bit about what practice is and how practice is different from a study or from what I call work. And the most important thing is, I see a lot of people talk about art block. I don't really get art block, but what I think the reason is that I have a tendency to play. And to play is to just put lines. Just put lines or shapes on the screen without any particular effort to make anything or do anything. You just sort of put them on the screen and you go, what does that look like? Like here's a kind of a triangle shape. Okay, so we'll do this triangle shape here. What does this triangle shape look like? Does it look like anything? Oh, I don't know. Let's experiment a little. Let's grab some red and put that in here. If I put that in here, okay, now we're kind of looking like an eye. Now that kind of looks like an eye. Let's put some teeth down here. And this may cause a little bit of inspiration where you go, oh, you know, this kind of looks like, and maybe, I don't know, the xenomorph. Everybody's painting the xenomorph these days. Because we just had, we had the new Alien movie come out, so a lot of people are painting the xenomorph. So maybe you're thinking about that and you go, okay, well, let's kind of paint that. And now you've got something that you can work on. You've got something to paint. You've got something to think about. And you can start going, okay, well, let's carve out this space and kind of make it look a little bit more like the xenomorph. Maybe we move some of this stuff around. Maybe we thin that out. Xenomorph doesn't really have eyes, so let's get rid of the eye. And it's got that funky double mouth thing going on. So you can start working with that, and just starting from the concept of playing can give you something to work with. And then you have something that you can practice or that you can work on. And the next step beyond that, if you don't find anything, what I typically end up doing is I will start doing line work. I put 2 marks on the page. I've talked about this before. And I just draw a line between them. I go, there's a mark, and I draw from one mark to the other. There's a mark, I draw from one mark to the other. Did I do a good job? Here's one mark, here's the other mark. I go back to the first mark, and I draw a line straight from one mark to the other. Blip. Did not do a good job. 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 I'm having a rough time on this one. That's pretty good, actually. But let's see if we can do better. There we go. That's better. That's the best one I've done yet. You want to go straight from this dot to that dot, and you want to go exactly to and from the dots. You don't want to be off on either one of them. You don't want to be off to the side. You don't want to come up short. You don't want to go all the way past it. You don't want to miss the dot. When you start getting good at that, that's when you start doing the third dot. This one's hard because my hand's blocking it on the way. If I did it around this way, I'd be able to see it. But when I do it this way, I can't see it. I got to remember where it is. I actually kind of like the ones where my hand's blocking it and I have to remember where it is. Because that makes me keep track of stuff I can't see. When you start doing curves like that, that gives you something you can work on, and you can see whether you do a good job. This is the kind of practice that you could do every day, because every time you did it, you'd be able to tell whether you did a good job. If you find it boring and you don't want to do it and you don't like it, then, you don't have to do it every day. I mean, maybe that's not the thing you want to do. Maybe you want to do parallel lines and try to keep them as close together as possible. One of my favorite ones is to draw several lines and then go the other direction in between the lines. And you can keep doing that. You can keep trying to go in between the lines. And it gets harder and harder as you go. That's a fun one. And these kind of little games are just part of play. And then you get around to the question of a study. A study is when you're trying to do something you don't know how to do. Like one of the things that I did was when I was doing bees, I would start with a kind of dark brown. Hard to do. Hard to get this really dark because it just wants to kind of stay the same sort of value. Doesn't want to get really dark. When you're doing bees, I'm not doing a good job on this, so I'm gonna just kind of jump in and do this with a simple color pick. If you're doing bees, you want to start with a kind of deep reddish brown, more like that. Yeah. And you have these three segments of the bee's body. But then you have these tiny little hairs. You have these little hairs that are all over the bee. And the thing about those little hairs is, these are where most of the bee's color is. Because most of the bee's color actually comes from these little hairs and not from the actual color of their shell, I needed a brush that would make little hairs. There also tends to be a kind of darker golden color underneath the bee, right in there. And obviously you've got little hairs up here. And little hairs around the eye. And what I needed to do is I needed to build a brush that made little hairs. Make it a little bit bigger so it's clearer that it has little hairs. That's what it does. It makes little hairs. And they're at right angles to the brush. So I had to jump in and mess around with it and make it do the kind of thing that I wanted it to do. And that was all just a matter of figuring out how I was going to make that happen. And you can kind of use the little hairs to define various bits and pieces of the bee's anatomy. And then you can use little hairs in the underlying color to kind of sort of erase the little hairs that have gotten in the way. And then you can go over to the soft airbrush and you can put a couple of little highlights in there. And this actually does a fairly good job of representing a bee. It's not great, but experimenting with it has given me a lot of insight as to techniques I can use to make things like this look at least passable. And then I can take this and I can size it down. And now I have this fairly detailed little bee that's shrunk down, and all of those details that don't look so great when you're zoomed in on it look just fine. And figuring out how to paint a bee, and getting all of that together, that was a study. I had to study bees. I had to look at reference of bees. And now that I'm drawing the bee just like all on its own, this is practice. I know how to do a thing, and now I'm working on doing the thing better. A study is when you don't know what you're doing, you got to figure out how to do it. I didn't know how to paint a bee. I had to learn how to paint a bee. Practice is when you know how to paint a bee, and now you're trying to paint the bee better. Now, what I did just now wasn't really practice because I wasn't trying to get better at painting the bee. It fell into the category of just work. You're doing work. The point is to finish the painting of the bee and actually have it be done. Or alternately, you could view it as just play because I'm not going to use that bee in anything. I do really like the idea of the painting I was talking about last week, the "I'm not a girl, I'm a swarm of bees" line. That was a really cool line, and I really want to do some more work with it. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to do I'm gonna have to do something with it, and I've been experimenting a little with different aspects of it, and you can see that in my time-lapse video where I was working on bees. But But those 4 different divisions, you've got the play, which is where you're just putting marks and shapes on the page. And then you've got a study where you don't know what you're doing and you're trying to figure it out. Then you've got practice where you know what you're doing, but you're trying to get better. And then you've got work, which is, I want to finish the piece. Work is the one that that I feel like everybody feels compelled to focus on. Finishing the piece and getting stuff done. And the thing about study and practice is they're not supposed to create finished pieces. And that's actually, now that I think about it, that's the thing about content creation. That's what people are always complaining. They're like, you're not a content creator, you're an artist. Content creation isn't about your art. Content creation is about the stuff around your art. The content is like, here's the process of my art. That's not art. That's just shit that falls out of doing art. You paint a picture, the picture that you painted is the art. But if you videotape yourself painting the picture, or you record yourself painting the picture, and you upload that video to YouTube, that video is just content. You didn't do a full production with it. It's the same thing that I do every week. I come on here and I do my shit and I just kind of ramble into the microphone and that's content. That's not a video production. I'm not a video producer. I could be, but but I'm not. And people get upset about the concept of content creation, but content creation is just taking stuff that you would otherwise throw away or not even have and turning it into something that other people can look at and that other people can watch and that other people can get something out of. It's turning that kind, it's that trash into treasure kind of thing where, you know, you ramble into a microphone for 45 minutes and you turn that into something you upload to YouTube. Well, that's beneficial to someone. It might just be beneficial to you because it's teaching you to ramble into a microphone for 45 minutes. That's fine. But just because you made it doesn't make it art, okay? There's a lot of stuff that we put out there. There are a lot of photographs that we upload to Instagram and status updates that we put on Facebook and videos and streams that we upload to YouTube and broadcast on Twitch that are not art. They're not even remotely art. We're not even trying to make art. They're just content. It's just, here I am doing the thing. It's content. And people keep saying, oh, no, don't denigrate what you're doing. Don't elevate what I'm doing. For God's sake, the purpose of this stream is to make sure I practice for at least 20 minutes a week. I don't really need it anymore. That's an interesting thought. I don't actually need this stream to make me practice anymore. The purpose of this stream is not the same as what it was because we're now at the point where doing the time lapse is what makes me practice every week. So I could just keep doing time lapses. That'd make me practice every week, and doing the stream is superfluous. It's not making me practice. It's not making me think about my art and talk about my art more than I otherwise would. I'd be thinking and talking about my art anyway, whether I was doing the stream or not. So this stream needs to be something else. Needs to change. We are closing up on the end of season 3. It's going to be closing out in, I think, 12 weeks, maybe a little less, 10, 12 weeks, something like that. I think it's closing out around early November. Let me take a look real quick. Yeah, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I think we have 11 more, 10 or 11, either 10 or 11 more streams before the end of season 3. And I don't know that Sketch Weekly is the right name for it anymore. I probably need to come up with a different name. So, I'm gonna need to think about that. That's, we probably need a new name for the podcast. I probably need a new focus for the podcast. And I probably need to start thinking about, enlarging the social media effort. Like the first part of the video, I'm probably going to clip out and make into its own video and put out there, and I'm not going to do a funky thumbnail or try to split test titles or any of that horse shit. I'm not doing this for money. I'm not doing it for attention. Well, I am doing it for attention. But, yeah, I probably need to think about enlarging the social media presence a bit. Doing more finished art pieces, posting more on Kara, posting more art on Blue Sky and Tumblr. And, probably posting at least one standalone mid-sized video every week. Like something in the 5 to 10 minute range. Something more like what other artists are posting. That is definitely something I need to think about. And that's the thing about content creation. Okay, I'm doing this stream. At the beginning of this stream, there was shit I wanted to talk about anyway. And I talked about it, and that thing that I talked about, I'm going to chop that out, and I'm going to make it into another video. That's going to give me a second video from the same amount of time and the same amount of work that I was already putting in. Just like when I do the time lapse of the various shit that I've been practicing all week. That time lapse is not something I have to do a significant amount of work to produce. It just falls out of what I was doing anyway. All I have to do is enable the time lapse on the file. I just have to enable recording the time lapse, and that just automatically happens. It automatically records everything, and I can time lapse it. So I don't have to put in any extra effort to produce that. It just happens. It's just there. And the end result is that I have content I otherwise wouldn't have when I didn't put any more work into it. That's what content creation is really about. It's about getting more content that you can share without having to do more work. And if your entire job is to be a content creator, well, just like recording your life and uploading it, I don't know that I'd aspire to that. But, fuck it. If you can get some benefit out of that, feel free to do it, I guess. But, the time-lapse just kind of falls out of my existing practice. And the stream, falls out of me forcing myself to just hit record. All of this content just falls out of it. I don't write this. I don't have a script. I don't have a plan, usually. Sometimes I have a plan, but that plan just falls out of stuff I'm already thinking about anyway. It's like I didn't plan to do the beginning part of this stream about whether or not you should practice every day. But YouTube was like, hey, here are these 2 contradictory videos over and over again. Oh, I guess I could talk about this on my stream this week. So that's what I did. And if I can chop that out and make it into its own video, then I'm probably going to do that. And if there was something quick and simple that I could chop out of that and make it into a short, maybe I would do that too. But, I don't know. It seems to me that the purpose of this stream has kind of evolved. And I need to start thinking about how I'm going to evolve with it. Otherwise, the stream's just going to be worthless. It's not going to be worth doing, really. Anywho, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing right now at the moment. I'm kind of lost now. I was all fired up and talking about shit, and now I'm just like, man, I'm kind of tired and don't know what to talk about. And also, I'm now thinking about, crap, this stream needs a new name, and it needs a new focus, and it needs a new thing that I'm doing, and what's that new thing gonna be? And geez, do I need to start posting 2 and 3 videos a week now, just like every other YouTuber? Is that something I need to do? And the answer is no. No, it's not something that I need to do. If I decide I want to do it, then I can do it, but I don't need to do it. The world will not railroad you into anything. There are no expectations. Do the thing you want to do. Don't do anything you don't want to do. The single most important right of every human being is the right to say no. No, I am not going to upload a 10-minute video every day about bullshit. Although, I started scripting these streams, and I did an hour a week, I could chop them up into 10-minute blocks and have a video every day. That's an interesting thought. I'm not going to do that. That seems like bullshit to me. It seems like I do a better job of just like doing the 6-10-minute videos and then turning around and slapping them all together and going, here they are, all in one bunch. Like have a weekly wrap up or some such shit. I don't want to do that. That'd be stupid. I don't know. I think maybe I'll chop something out and make a shorter video out of it if it seems like I have something that was worth listening to. And then the rest of the time I'll just keep doing the same thing and just having the stream that goes up, and that's that. But that's very much how content creation works, is to like you make a stream, you make a big long video. Well, nobody wants to watch a big long video, so you chop 2 little short videos out of it, and people will watch those. You do a time lapse that is shorter. I need to come up with a better name for the podcast, or for the stream. It's not a podcast. I never have guests or anything. I wonder how many people remember that we call them podcasts because they were supposed to be saved on your iPod and listened to when you felt like it, instead of just whenever they broadcast. These things get lost to history, you know, these ideas. Like, in a world that is all about CDs, you get to one of the tracks on LL Cool J's radio, and it says, yo, turn that shit on the other side, because the other side is liver than this side. How many people are confused by that and going, what do you mean other side? Because you don't turn CDs over. That's not a thing that you do. Vinyl you turn over. Cassette tapes you turn over. But CDs, not so much. And I mean, beyond CDs, what about streams? other side doesn't even mean anything. It's like it's like having a part 1 and part 2 of a playlist. Why would you do that? Hey, yo, put on part 2 of this playlist. It's better. Why didn't you just make only one playlist? I don't know. It's the type of thing you think about when you're old. Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do with this thing starting in season 4. Will it even be season 4? Or will it be season 1 of a new thing? Will it be Sketch Weekly season 3 and then new name season 4? Or will it just be new name season 1? I'm not sure. I don't know how I want to do this. I don't know if I want to do this. I kind of like calling it Sketch Weekly. Even though people are constantly going, do you know you spelled weekly wrong? No, I spelled it right. Clearly you haven't watched the show. I'm not sure how I want to proceed with that. Not sure what I want the schedule to be. I try to get the time lapse out Friday morning, sometime after midnight, sometime between midnight and midnight on Friday, just sometime on Friday. I try to get it out. Obviously, it's got to go out before sundown, though. Huh. I don't fucking know. Anyway, we're getting toward, we're not going anywhere at this point. I'm just kind of rambling to myself, and that's no fun. So do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit, and I should probably come up with an intro, and a theme song, and an outro, and another theme song, and a closing, some kind of like personal weirdo shit that only I say, and I don't know. Do I want this production to be more professional, or do I just want to keep fucking around? I just want to keep fucking around. We're going to keep it easy. We're going to keep it simple. We might get a little more high production value, but I wouldn't hold my breath on anything big. Anyway, that's about all I got this week. So, okay. Bye.